Would you be able to help with these problems, please?
Looks like she could use our help. Let's get
Don't get too comfortable. More are on the way.
You're too late!
Oh, fantastic. People. I was about to lose my wits.
A mind's question. The dust of the Akita in her hair. She knocks. We would answer.
You wouldn't happen to have a ladder on hand, would you? Don't take that tone with me, darling. There's a beautiful vase right in those ruins that I cannot reach. And as sharp as my wits are, they are a poor substitute for a ladder. But perhaps we don't need one. You're tall, striking, and well-toned. Oh, of course. Why would a priceless artifact be important? Well, I'm not surprised you don't know of the Godless. But they were here in the Living Lands long before we were. Long before anyone else, as far as I can tell. Give or take a few thousand years. They lived on every corner of the lands. You must have passed a few of their ruins on the way here. The big ones, with spires that look more than a little phallic. A lot of their structures were embedded in the ground. They lived in harmony with the land. I mean, as much as you can live in harmony with the land actively trying to kill you. Maybe it was nicer back then. 30 years of research, and as far as I can tell, they just upped and disappeared one day. Fascinating, right? Well, what's important is that the vase is within my grasp, now that I've a tall, dark, and beautiful stranger to help.
If you keep encouraging her, she's going to climb you.
Watch out, envoy. She seems to have a thing for you.
Careful, darling. I already have a lover. A good one. Skilled with his hands. He always carries a ladder. But, sadly, he's busy helping the Animancers in Fjord. And I need this vase now. Oh, absolutely not. Vidaro, the governor, is an uptight postinago. But if you want to know about the governor, fetch me that artifact. The vase sits atop that tower beside us, in the ruins there. And once you've got it, look me up. Yatsley, wizard extraordinaire, godless expert, and a Balrog in the bedroom.
You do meet the most interesting people.
I can get you 1,000 faces that don't require going into some ancient ruins. No one listens to me.
Right behind you.
Come and get it. Here we go. To your left. Burst and rush! You're not looking so good. Perk up, envoy.
got them all.
Andra's titties, you found it! I tried using magic to get the vase down, but alas. Thankfully you and your little friends came along and saved the day.
Excuse me, we're all bigger than you are, Nimdude.
I may be small, but my magic is not, I assure you. Of course I can. Are you a wizard as well? Remarkable. An Aedyran godlike wizard. You're nearly as fascinating as this godless vase. But I'd best pack up. I want to get home. I've a new artifact to study. Thank you for your help, godlike. Even if you didn't have a ladder.
That's something I hope never happens again.
I've got a few inches to spare if she changes her mind.
The godless and their proclivity for high spaces.
Seek!
Just like the good old days. Ready, aim. Granted, I don't come here often, but when did it get this bad?
Envoy? Fior Messiverno, huh? Guess if you're looking for an animancer, that's the place to go. I don't know about all that. They decided to settle in a hostile forest and use animancy to conquer it. We might get there and find that these people aren't as ready and willing to help you as you hope they are. Yeah, Looking forward to dragging you people through Emerald Stair, on the distant chance Fjord will be feeling generous with their time. I've led a few people there from Paradise or Thirdborn, and I've almost lost someone on every trip.
Someone's slipping.
I said almost. Just glad I can help. Right, changing the subject. Ask away. Right, chick. Until next time.
The armored mask. We dream of steel and charred earth and flame. The memory binds. Flee from her. We fear. For us. For you. Blazing ire. It burns and feeds upon itself. Pain through the smoke, we recall. You are not safe with her. A false sheep. Light drowning out the shadows lurking within. But the old scars do not lie. We burned once. Burned. We know. A storm from the same spark. All pain cuts with the same blade. Steer clear of the scourging fire, or extinguish it. Cull or tend, the bear's blood nourishes the earth. The flame spreads toward the garden wall. Listen, have care. Have care.
As if people weren't hungry enough.
What do you mean that's all you've got? Last week you said that'd be great.
I really don't think you can pronounce everything.
I'm sure I'm in a bad time.
The Emperor's envoy. Inquisitor Ludwine said you might be heading this way. Captain Alfair of the Steel Garrote. If you're here to speak with Vidaro, I'm afraid you'll find the governor is quite beyond reason. These Valians and their love of animancy. While they theorize and do nothing, the sickness spreads. But worry not, envoy. The Steel Garrote will be ready to ensure the safety of Aedyran interests when the time comes. We all have our part to play, envoy. Until later.
She's as subtle as a broadside.
Does subtle mean something different outside of Solace?
Can I interest you in some glade?
Genuine healing, please.
Giatta.
What's the meaning of this?
Look at these. How can you ignore what's right in front of you? The Dream Scourge is here, in the soil, and it's killing us. Oh my goodness. Are you a godlike? In that case, you're right on time.
Maybe you can talk some sense into our governor. Put the fear of the gods in him.
Tempers are high, but I don't see any assassins. Yet.
Excuse me, but unless you have official business, I'll thank you not to involve yourself in our private discussion. Very well. I hope you remember that behind these walls, your influence has limits.
I'm sure she didn't come all this way just to challenge your authority. As you can see, I was just proving a point to our esteemed governor.
A cart full of spoiled vegetables. You call that a point?
Ha! Emerald Stair used to be a lush garden for miles around, and now I don't even recognize it. First came the invasive species, roots and mycelium growing overnight, as though nature itself had gone mad. The Dream Scourge has twisted our lands, our wildlife, and now, our farms. Then there's no time to waste arguing with bureaucrats.
We definitely agree on that.
I believe that we can restore the land, bring back its soul and its sanity, cut off the Dream Scourge at the root. Our governor would rather ignore the problem. He doesn't trust animancy as his father did.
They do. And that's the kind of reckless behavior I'm trying to avoid.
Reckless is all we have time for. Before we can deal with the Dream Scourge, we first need to understand it. Unfortunately, new experiments have to go through him.
Must be nice that all the arguing isn't about you, for once.
I'm just trying to stop Giatta from hurting herself. Animancy is dangerous when you're shooting in the dark. I see you're unfamiliar with animancy. Be careful with your assumptions. Are you going to tell her about your family's basement? Or should I?
How dare you use that against me?
I know it was an accident, but look what it cost you. We can't let it happen again.
While we argue among ourselves, the Dream Scourge is tearing the living lands apart. Tearing our people apart. Really? Unexpected from an Aedyran. But how could I refuse an offer like that? Well, Governor, looks like I'm taking some time away from my duties. I'll trouble you no more.
Your request is denied, Giatta.
I wasn't asking.
Your responsibilities are to the settlement. Turning away from them sets a precedent that I cannot allow.
Everything I have proposed has been for Fior, and you still refuse to cooperate. Under the circumstances, I don't have much of a choice.
Then neither do I. Giatta Castel, from this day forth, you are banished from Fior Messiverno.
Banished?
What?
Ignacy, we can't lose our brightest animancer in the middle of a crisis.
Your pupil has gone too far, Quilici. Take her and leave. You're still a guest in my town, but to us, Giatta is an outcast.
It's a bit too soon to tell.
Governor, this is unacceptable. Your father would have kept this community together at any cost.
Don't bother, old man. He isn't his father. I've done all I can for Fior Messiverno. But you haven't even tried. Now limp back to your giant house like a good dog. We should talk somewhere private. Meet me at my house due west by the workshop.
Another mouthful. Maybe we'll need to let Kai hunt more after all.
on, come on. My invention is
That did not go as I had planned.
What did you think?
I'm sorry you had to see that. What an asshole.
Giatta, some manners, if you please.
Why start now?
We're on the verge of extinction, but our governor is too busy protecting his fragile ego. I can think of one. He's an entitled little worm who can't stand to be proven wrong.
You did challenge his authority.
I know, but... curses. Without Fior Misiverno, I'm hardly even an animancer. My tools, the workshop, all gone.
I wish I could take credit for Giatta's stubbornness, but she learned that on her own.
Thanks, old man. At least now I'm free to study whatever I want. On my terms. The Dream Scourge has been a thorn in my side for too long. I have plans for this island, and they don't involve the Dream Scourge. But that's a story for another day.
Your parents would be proud to see such tenacity.
Anyway, listen to us babble. Let's talk about you. I never expected to see an Aedyr envoy here. You've got a lot of guts showing your face in a town full of animancers. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. Our first order of business is the Dream Scourge, but I'm also curious about you. There aren't many godlike left these days. Wouldn't that be a coincidence? I only bring it up because Animancy might offer us some insight into your nature. Keep an open mind. While I pack up my belongings, you can help me by... Of course. Excuse me, it's been a long day. When it comes to the Dream Scourge, we haven't been allowed to acknowledge the problem, much less act on a solution. Today, that changes. I need help from the animancers around town, but as you can see, I'm an outcast. Glad to hear it. Your education should come in handy. Manto Pastor is in the workshop due west. He's got an invention that can help us. Elia Rossell is an authority on the undead. Her methods are controversial, but useful. She lives in a cottage southeast of town. And then there's Yvette and Remy, our philosophers. You'll find them at the docks, southeast of Fior. Each of them owes me a favor. Drop my name and they'll tell you what they know about the Dream Scourge. I'd rather you find that out for yourself. Whatever it is, I won't be disappointed. We're about to make history. But first, research.
Guessing she's not much of a hunter. Might want to get extra rations next time we go shopping.
Godlike, Imperial envoy, research assistant. Who knew?
Confounded machine. Oh, I heard there was a new arrival, but I didn't expect a godlike. Welcome to our modest workshop. Giatta, what a loss. I owe that young woman more than I could ever repay. Unfortunately, I cannot do a lick of research while my equipment is underpowered and overworked. Ha! A novel idea, that. What I need is a stronger power source. Grimoires can hold intense power, but not for long. Besides, grimoires require a wizard to draw in essence. It's too dangerous at this scale. Oh, wait. One of our rangers reported that an Aedyr recently died in a western grove. Indeed, but that well is almost dry. I need more. An Aedyr heart can hold an immense amount of essence. The grove is to the west, across the chasm. You can't miss it. The rangers say a Delamgon queen holds court there. You may be able to retrieve it without violence, but most Delamgon in these parts are hostile to Keith. So you can understand why none of us went rushing over there to find it when we heard the Aedyr had died. Still, Delamgon queens can be reasoned with, so if you want to get the heart peacefully, try not to kill her guards. Do be careful. Emerald Stair is not itself these days.
Well, let's go. That Aedyr heart isn't gonna yank itself out.
Aedyr, welcome to my fine establishment.
Oh, it's you.
The Aedyr stirs. The bars stifle us. We cannot recall when last we spoke. Hollow faces in a line. What has come of this place? A hand of generosity, or a gauntlet of steel? We feel them. They bend and hone the essence of the earth. They draw from our veins like a well. What are these rituals? Eons have passed. We do not recognize these strange machines. The harvest grows, the dead rise. What do they hope to achieve? Set what has been broken, soothe the pain. They build walls in their hearts. Why do they not share what they make? The flightless bird resents the hawk. Time flows forward. Do they bring wonders or catastrophe? The bitter tincture heals. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. We have learned much. Dream of soaring wings in your repose.
Why is it somehow worse when revenants aren't trying to kill you?
A godlike in Emerald Stair. Well, well, maybe our luck's improving. I'd offer to shake your hand, but I've been elbow deep in Beatrice all day. Try and use their names, if you don't mind. It builds their confidence. As you can see, this is my reanimated corpse farm.
We can smell it, too.
I'm trying to demonstrate the value of undead labor. But of course, nothing is ever that simple. What am I supposed to do? Just let them decompose? Reanimated corpses are the future of manual labor. Cost-effective, low maintenance, and very friendly. Now, Beatrice, she's being a real problem, if you can believe it. Would you be Aedyr and reach into her guts? Feel around for anything that doesn't belong. Aha! So the blight got into my revenant and interfered with her raising. That confirms one of my theories. Not only is the Dream Scourge affecting our farms, it's disrupting animancy, unraveling our work. Sounds like I have more research ahead of me, but at least now I have a sense of direction. Thank you for getting your hands dirty on my behalf, godlike. You're a natural. Giatta Castel wants my professional opinion. What an honor. I have a few theories, but no firm conclusions. I have to ask, is it true? Did Vidaro kick her out of town? That's our governor for you. Self-righteous even in his own ignorance. Very well. I'll tell you what I know about the Dream Scourge. But first, I need some help around the farm. I'm up to my ears in chores around here, and the Revenants can only do so much. They can't do complicated tasks, you see. Anyway, I'm afraid the time has come to put down poor Silvo. Silvo is one of my Revenants. My oldest, my favorite, and the pride of my flock. Someone needs to put the poor fellow out to pasture. And I just don't have the heart to do it myself.
Well, it's already dead. That's the hard part done right there.
When a revenant goes bad, there's only one option. Final death. And poor Silvo's time has gone. Outsiders and travelers down on their luck. You'd be surprised how many people want to sell their bodies to animancy.
Say what you will about mercenary and military life. At least your obligations end at death.
Anyone else see a downside to giving monetary value to corpses?
This is a good forever home for the undead. Better than some crypt, anyway. But sometimes we have bad days. Really? Oh, I've always wanted a godlike for the stables. Deal! You've made me a very happy animancer.
Make sure she doesn't try to collect till after your death.
I'm not dragging your corpse back here from some ancient ruin, I'll tell you that.
Once you've dealt with Silvo, we can finalize the arrangements. Thank you for understanding. You can find Silvo in the barn. He's blocked the door somehow, but the window should be open. Just be gentle with him. He's a good boy.
So, we're killing a revenant then? She just couldn't come out and say that?
And this is why I don't take pets.
Envoy, a pleasure as always. Poor Silvo. He was a bright young revenant, but a very old man. Thank you for giving him peace. I'll be fine. I've lost so many revenants over the years, and I'm always such a wreck afterward. So, the Dream Scourge. I've been keeping an eye on the readings from my fields. This plague, as we know it, is a recent development. But I believe whatever causes it is older by far. Maybe even as old as the living lands. The exotic plants and animals, the twisted landscape, the Dream Scourge. They have a common ancestor. There's something about the essence in the living lands that's different from anywhere else I've seen. It's possible, but we don't share research if we can avoid it. That's one of the reasons I moved out here. The other reason being my corpses. They don't enjoy living behind walls, if you can call it living. Not to get too superstitious, but in these troubled times, the arrival of a godlike is no coincidence. You are meant to be here. Toward what end, only you can say. Well, I'm happy to give her some good news for a change. You and Giatta are going to shake things up. As for me, I'll be keeping a close eye on my flock. Before I forget, here's a down payment on your body. And here's your collar. Try not to lose it. You're going to love it here. Hopefully not for a while, though.
Great. Now I have to add to my list of idiotic ideas.
Let's hope we steer clear of assassins for the time being.
The great
Remy, look what I found. A genuine godlike.
They're wearing one of Aedyrs' collars. Do you think they're undead?
Let's find out. Hello, me, Yvette. You friend? Remy, take a note. Fluent speech and upright posture show marks of sophistication in the endangered godlike. We heard that Giatta partnered up with an outsider, but I had no idea you were a godlike. Fascinating.
I suppose we owe her a favor. Or two.
Giatta must have sent you to be our test subject. She knows how we adore your kind. Satisfy our curiosity and we'll give you everything Giatta needs to finish her research. Deal? We want to know about the godlike, of course. You're the first one we've encountered in the wild.
Let's begin the examination. If you could choose, who or what would you be in your next life? Next time you go round the wheel, you might not get so lucky. Forget what I think. Let's keep the focus on you.
Who wouldn't? My turn. Some would call you blessed. Others would call you cursed. The fact remains, you were touched by the gods. Wouldn't you say that you owe something to the rest of us? So, you believe we need your help. Interesting.
Oh, I thought of another. We all know that godlike can't reproduce. How do you plan on leaving a legacy after you're gone? Oh, didn't anyone tell you? On second thought, forget I asked. I think that covers everything. Thank you for that brilliant insight, Godlike. You're a credit to your dwindling kind.
So, Giatta wants to know all about the Dream Scourge, yes? Such has been her research of late. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
There's no cure for the Dream Scourge, much in the way that there's no cure for an avalanche.
Giatta will be interested to learn that the Dream Scourge cannot just be studied in a lab. Its nature is wild, so it has to be studied in the wild. Our machines and experiments would meddle with it too much.
And like anything affecting the soul, it must be connected to essence. Thus, if she wishes to discover more about the Dream Scourge, a pillar of Aedyr would be a good place to start.
Precisely. A godlike and a scholar, too. Incredible.
Indeed. Just as Aedyr channels essence, so too may it provide a key to discovering more about the Dream Scourge.
Not that we'd ever be interested in such research, of course. How droll. An entity, you say? If this entity is your patron, that's all perfectly natural. But if it's something else, with enough essence and a capable animancer, perhaps you could trace this tether back to its source.
Right, and with a little fresh sake, you can follow an ogre back to its lair. Still wouldn't recommend it.
Just be careful that your tether doesn't snap back and kill you in the process.
Now that we've researched the mind of a godlike, the next step is anatomy. But we've taken enough of your time. Farewell.
Hurry, before they change their minds.
Ugh, I might have dozed off there for a bit. Were any of those words the ones we needed?
We could do both. Anything to work for the great Giatta Castel.